Everybody's got a hungry heart. Everybody's got a hungry heart. Lay down your money and you play your part. Everybody's got a hungry heart. Nice! Good job. It's true. Everybody's got a hungry heart. And just FYI, that's about as much Springsteen as you're going to get today. But that was enough, because you sound good and you know the words. But the truth of the matter is, the way the lyrics of the song play out is not what we want to try at home. Because I think that we've got a hungry heart, and I kind of wish that we would own it and claim it. So let's try this. A man walks into a bar. And on that bar are some snacks. What are they? Peanuts, pretzels, what else? Goldfish. Olives. Oh, onion rings? Good, yeah. You know you're in trouble when you're at a bar with pickled eggs, right? They're like the best places ever. So what do all the snacks have in common? Salty. And why is that a good thing at the bar? Because it makes you thirsty and you're going to drink more. But I don't know that that's a good thing either. I don't know that we want to try that at home either. I wish that we put some snacks out before Holy Communion. That we would realize that we're hungry. That we would realize that we are thirsty. Want to pass those around? The gluten-free are coming. Because you know I'll be in trouble, right? You know, Pastor, those pretzels were not good for all, right? It's a justice issue. Because I think it's true. That not unlike the man who walks in the bar. We come to church on Sunday mornings and we are hungry. We are desiring more. We are longing for something better and richer and deeper. And this is a place. Good. Why don't you just take that one to the back? Thanks. Great. It's always good to have help. Everybody's got a hungry heart. And we need to claim the hunger. We need to claim the thirst. And salt, I think, in this day and age has gotten a little bit of a bad rap, right? Too much of it can really affect our health. Too much of it will raise our blood pressure. And so we're worried about our intake of salt while we are hungering and thirsting for God. And so it is that we gather here today thinking a little bit about salt. And I think that before we talk about all that Jesus is saying, when Jesus is saying that you are the salt of the earth and you are the light of the world, that Jesus gives us a little warning. That salt can also lose its flavor. And salt has some properties that allow it to absorb what's around it. And we're the same way. Us salty disciples of Jesus can absorb the negativity of the world if we're not careful. We're worried about our democracy. We're worried about our climate on a sunny, warm day as green shoots are coming up from the ground. We're worried. But if we are too exposed or overexposed, or a people who are surrounded with people who are too negative, we're going to absorb those properties because we are the salt of the earth. And so I don't know about you, this morning I want to move from focusing on our intake to focusing on what we're sharing, how we're sprinkling ourselves around, how we're contributing to the goodness of things. Jesus says that we are the salt of the earth and that we are the light of the world. And we probably know that we use salt for things. Primarily it is a flavor enhancer, right? It makes things taste better. Some of us like lots of salt to make things taste better. I think that Jesus is saying that we have an ability to enhance the flavor of things. I think we have the ability, I think Jesus is telling us that we have the power to change the conversation, to turn the conversation into good news in times of despair. We also know that salt will be spread on the icy ground. That salt has the ability to melt the ice and to keep people from falling. It's one of the main jobs in the winter, right? At the church, we don't want people to fall. I think Jesus is telling us that we have the ability and the capacity and the power to melt hard hearts and to keep people from falling. Salt, with its amazing powers, what happens when it's in the waters of creation? The salt in the waters, right, allow us to float upon the waters. There's a buoyancy there. Buoyancy in the water there. I think Jesus is telling us that we have the power to hold each other up. When Jesus tells us that we are the salt of the earth. That we have the ability to hold each other up when people are falling, hold each other up when people are grieving, hold each other up when we just need a little more strength and courage. What I don't think we know, and maybe we do, but in the ancient world, and we might remember that we're reading this morning from Matthew's Gospel. It's the Sermon on the Mount, right? Chapters 5 through 7 in Matthew. Amelia, maybe you remember this. Tom Toole used to call it the filet mignon of Jesus Christ. Matthew 5 through 7. Maybe you go home and you take it. It's the Sermon on the Mount. The filet mignon. Everything we need to know is there. And in the ancient world, salt was used as a preservative, right? People would take their meat before refrigerators, let alone Sub-Zero, or those really cool ones with the clear glass doors. You could see all your organized things. Before all of that, they had salt that they would rub on the meat, that it would preserve the meat and prevent people from getting sick. I think Jesus is telling us that we are preservers of good news, not bad. I think Jesus is telling us that we have the power to hold on to what's good, to preserve what's good, and at the same time, right, move forward with change. In the ancient world, salt was used in contracts. They would rub it between their hands and use it with a shake. Salt was a binding agent. And I think Jesus is telling us in the passage this morning that we have the power and the ability to bind people together, to bring people together, to hold it together. Even when things are falling apart, we can hold ourselves together and hold each other together. We know that now, and in the ancient world for sure, salt has healing properties. We bathe in it. We gargle with it. We go into the ocean when we're itchy with poison ivy and bug bites, and we are healed. The ancient world used salt as a healer, and I think that Jesus is saying to each and every one of us that you have the power to heal each other. You have the power to get rid of the impurities. God help us in the USA right here, right now. God needs us, the salty ones. And lastly, salt was a very precious commodity in the ancient world. You hear about salt money, right? You're not worth your salt. Salt was valuable, more valuable than gold. And I think that Jesus is saying to each and every one of us, you have value. You have value in my world. You have value in my church. You have value in your communities. You have value. More valuable than gold are you, and you, and you, and you. You are the salt of the earth. And I don't know about you, but I like salty people. I like salty people. People who are willing to spice things up, but keep it real and keep it positive. I like salty people who are able to hold on to what's good, throw out what's not, and move forward. I like people who want to lift people up and not let them fall. I like salty people. And God says to us, you are the salt of the earth. You are the salt of the earth. I hope today we can remember and claim our salt. And when you go out into the world and share and sprinkle your love around, that you'll remember to affirm the salt in others, the light of Christ that burns. You are the salt of the earth. You are valuable to God, and you have great power. Amen.